only with the memories of yesterday. So it does involve a lot of process of information. Memory is storing a lot of information. For example, images, sound, and the alphabets, the meaning, everything. So now we'll see in detail everything about it. So we have three stages of memory, which includes encoding, storage, and retrieval. Encoding is nothing but receiving the information and storing the information, and retrieving is retrieving the information whenever we need it. So how a memory is working. So first in encoding is the information that we get in our brain is stored through the encoding process. It enters the brain and it is stored. So whenever the brain processes the current stimulus and it recalls the information according to the necessity of the current situation. So encoding is actually it is a basic perception process in which the memory is starting to create it. So it is a basic step for memory. So the main strength of memory is depending upon the encoding process, how strong the encoding process or how strong the attention is paid to encode the stimuli. The encoding will be done very effectively for future use. So during the encoding process, memories are developed in hippocampus. It is a place or it is a location where in our brain where all the memory is stored. So this is done by using a electrical and chemical process, which is called transduction process. So when we create new memories with words and images, it also adds strength to our encoding abilities. So encoding is done with images and words which are very strong. So there are three main ways through which encoding is done. One is visual, that is called the picture representation. Next is acoustic, or which is called as sound. A favorite song, a favorite music brings back your memories of your past. When you see some picture of your favorite actor or somebody, you will see you watch this picture at that time, so it brings some memory. And semantic is the meaning of the encoding stimuli. So next process of memory is storage. So after encoding, the information which are encoded are stored in our memory. So it takes a lot of process to maintain the information over a period of time. So this concerns the nature of memory stores, that is where the information is stored and how long it is stored. That is the duration of the storage level. So how strongly it is encoded and how long it is stored in our memory. So how much can be stored, that capacity, everything is determined here only. So what kind of information is held, what kind of information is not stored. So everything is filtered. So between the process of encoding and storage, there is a filter. Okay, so the way we store information affects the way we retrieve it. So when we have a very strong encoding process and it is stored in our memory, it is very easy to retrieve it. Okay, so when you store something with an image, so whenever you want to retrieve, you remember that image and you will easily retrieve that information. So for you to have a good memory process, the storage should be very strong. So next is retrieval. So retrieval is a third process of retrieval of information, is a third process in memory that we have stored. So we locate and we return to our consciousness, that is information or the stimuli that we stored in our past. It is retrieved later part of our life. Okay, so of course we need some attempt. Okay, we have to think over for some time and then we'll retrieve the information. So this refers to getting information from our storage. It is like saving information in the computer. Okay, so we save something in the computer. When we want it, we'll open the correct folder and we'll take the information. The same way, the brain also saves some information in different folders like visual, acoustic, and semantic. So when we want to remember something, so maybe it is because we are not unable to retrieve it, we may not able to remember that. So to retrieve the information, the storage queues are very, very important. So organizing information can also will help you. Okay, so when you want to store some information in the computer, we will store them according to the nature of the data. For example, and the units or notes given by an English teacher all stored in one folder. The notes given by your Tamil teacher is stored in one folder, and the information or the notes given by your major subject whatever you are learning, the teacher gives the notes, you store it in a separate folder. So when we want that lessons to be learned before examination, instead of searching everywhere, you will go and open the correct folder, you will get the notes and you will study for your exam. So the way you stored it is very easy for you to retrieve it. The same way in the memory process, how strongly you are organizing the information determines or helps you to retrieve the information in future at any time, for any size, at any level. Okay. So next is the three stages of memory. We have a different function, capacity, and duration. Okay, so the memory is stored in three process, or it has three different functions based on the capacity and duration. Okay, in that way we have three stages. One is sensory memory, and when it is next is short term memory, next is long term memory. Okay, so the sensory memory is the basic input information that you receive. The information which you pay little more attention or given in your working memory, a short-term memory. It is passed on to your short-term memory. And the information which are encoded and which are done a lot of rehearsal will be transferred to your long-term memory. Okay, so this is how it happens. Sensory memory is the basic information which holds only for a fraction of second, only a few minutes, maybe a OTP number. As some friend tells you a phone number, you dial the number immediately and you call that person. The next moment you forget that phone number. Or you get an OTP, a 6-digit number, you read that OTP, you put that OTP and you make the payment, you forget that OTP number. So sensory memory holds information only for fraction of seconds. Okay, so some information we pay a very strong attention. That is the information which are necessary for us. That will be processed through a short-term memory. For example, it will holds only for less than 1 minute. Okay, so information which are holds for only more than less than 1 minute, it moves to short-term memory. And the information which are processed again and again, rehearsed or learned or used again and again, will be transformed to your or transferred to your long-term memory, that is lifetime memory. Okay, so now in the next slides we'll be seeing the different types of long-term memory. As I told you earlier, how the information is stored in your long-term memory so that you can retrieve the information very easily in future. Okay, see, based upon the nature of the information it is stored. So as I said, memory, short-term memory, long-term memory, and we have the different types of memory. That is short-term memory. That is the short-term memory. It is called as the immediate memory. Otherwise, it is called sensory memory. Okay, so the ability to retain the impressions of sensory information after the original stimulus has stopped coming. That is a number you see for a few seconds, then you remember, then you'll forget it. So, okay, it refers to the items detected by the sensory receptors, which are retained temporarily in your sensory registers. In this retention time is very brief, maybe from 1 to 5 seconds. You can hold the information which are for only to 1 to 5 seconds. As I told an example as OTP. Okay. So old sensory impressions may get erased by new information. Next day you make a new payment, you get a new OTP. You'll forget about the old OTP and you will see this new OTP. Okay. So, for example, we enter a cinema hall, see the seat number given in the ticket. After sitting, we forget which seat number we are sitting. Somebody comes and asks which seat number you are sitting, you won't know because you only use it for a purpose of few seconds. Okay. So next is we are going to see about short-term memory. Okay, short-term memory, which is also called as, which is a type of memory which holds a temporarily a short-lived information, but little longer when compared to the sensory memory. Okay, that if you less than 5 seconds, this is less than 1 minute. That is 30 seconds to 60 seconds you hold an information. Okay, it is also called as recent memory or working memory. So the attention time here is longer than the immediate memory. That is longer than the sensory memory. Okay, it may hold for about 30 seconds to more. So short-term memory acts as a kind of a notepad or a scribble pad or a scratch pad for temporary recall of information, which is being processed at any point of your lifetime. Okay, it holds a small amount of information. For example, 7 items or even less, a few names that comes to your mind, okay, so that are active, readily available for a short period of time. For example, in order to understand the sentence, the beginning of the sentence needs to be held in mind while the rest is read, a task which is carried out by the short-term memory. Okay. Next is the long-term memory, which holds the major information of our lifetime. So, which holds a major part in the retrieval process also. Okay, long-term memory. So, it is, as the name is indicated, it is called as a long-term. That is the information which are durable for a longer period or endless period of your lifetime. Okay, and that is why it is also called as permanent memory. So it can be referred to as a remote memory also. Okay, the span of attention is far better than the other types of memory, that is sensory memory and short term memory. Here the span of attention is very strong. So for example, the data like the names of the parents, relatives, date of birth, date of marriage, wedding anniversaries, the first time you went for an college tour, okay, first time you scored the first rank or something like that. So that is important information, important dates, some of the general knowledge answers. What is the capital of India? Okay, when did India get independence? When is India's Republic Day? So all such data, okay, some are very general, you have studied a long time back, but still you can retrieve it from your long term memory. Okay, so the memory is properly coded and retrieved systematically, purposefully, and meaningfully, and it has a correlation with the relevant information and the event. You have a direct connection with the event, and it is easy for retrieval, even though it is a remote memory, even though you studied long time back, but still it is retrieved very easily, or it is retrieved with a smaller effort. It is because it is systematically coded and stored or saved. As I told you, you save all your notes or your lessons in a different folder, and you name the folder English, Tamil, Indian social problems, or man in Indian society. So you give the name of the subject to it, and all the relevant information are stored inside it. So when you want to retrieve it even after 1 year, if you just search for the name of the subject, you can get all the information. The same way long-term memory also works. Okay, so it stores information in two different ways. That is, one is explicit and implicit. So explicit memory. What is explicit memory? It is a declarative memory, one of the main types of memory in long-term human memory. So it is a conscious, intentional recollection of factual information. It is a fact. Okay, so factual information, that is, nobody can alter it or change it, like date of birth. If my date of birth is this, then nobody can change it. If the date of birth of my father is this, that is the same. So factual information, okay, such information, or your previous experiences, and the concept, for example, water, the chemical name of water is H2O. Okay, so what is the capital of India? Delhi. This is the fact. You cannot alter it. You cannot change it. It is declarative memory. So, in explicit memory, the information is stored in the on the basis of explicit memory in the categorized as episodic memory, semantic memory. Okay, so episodic memory is information that are stored in our mind based on the specific personal experiences. Okay, semantic memory store the factual information. For example, episodic memory, things that happened in particular part of your lifetime, maybe year, date, something like that, some episodes of our life. Semantic memory is which store the factual information. So now episodic memory and semantic memory is explained in detail. Episodic memory is connected with the episodes and the events which may consist of personal events and experience associated with our life. I told you, maybe a major traumatic event, a major accident that happened in your friend's life, or birth anniversary of your of some great leaders, death anniversary of your closed relatives, something like that. Okay, so some of the events which are happened in your life personally, okay, it is very strongly connected to your life experience. So all those memories are stored in episodic memory under the name called episodic memory. Semantic memory, it helps to collect the relationship between event and the ideas. Okay, for example, bike and helmet. Drinking and driving not allowed. Okay. So for example, I told you as water, chemical name of water is H2O. Water is H2O. Some things which you can connect these two. You cannot separate these two. And some general knowledge questions. As I told you, what is UNO? United Nations Organization. What is WHO? World Health Organization. So some of the factual information, all these are saved in semantic memory. That is why even though you have studied about some of the general knowledge questions when you were small, but still you remember them because it is all stored in your semantic memory. You remember the birthdays and birth anniversaries, wedding anniversaries of some close people because you keep wishing them every year. So you keep recollecting the information every year. Next is procedural memory. So it is a kind of long-term memory which stores the information regarding the skills procedures. For example, how to start a bike, okay, how to start a scooter, how to start a car. All these are the skills. Okay, you know how to start a car. What is the first thing? To open the door, put the key, then accelerator. So whatever procedure that you follow, how to start a bike, the same way you have a procedure. Okay, how to start a computer, you put on the switch, then on the CPU. If you have another one, extension boxes or whatever it is, accessories, you on all that. Then you open the computer. If there is a password, you put the password. Then you open the computer. Okay, this is a skill. This involves some procedures. Okay, that you cannot change the procedures. So how well you remember all the procedures? All this comes under procedural memory. Priming, that is a memory which you, a non-conscious form of human memory concerned with the perceptual identification of words and objects. Okay, it refers to the activating particular representation or association in the memory just before carrying out an action or task. That is, you remember something very closely before doing it actually. Okay, we have a sequence, which is a sequence. For example, see a college students birthday party. Birthday party means you will have Pizza Hut. Okay, so all this connecting events, all these are priming.